Guys, it's your girl T, and I want to go ahead and shout out Demetra Hazlitt. Demetra and several folks have been sending me this story. Everybody wants me to cover it. It's about the whole exorcism of Latoya Ammons. So this story is creepy. It came out about last week. The UK Daily Mail was running the story. It happened in Indiana, and now it's making national news. So much so that even the priest who supposedly performed the exorcism was on the O'Reilly factor, and Bill O'Reilly was questioning him. They're even saying that the house was now bought by the Ghost Adventures group, and they're supposed to be, investigating the house. So what happened is that there's a black woman named Latoya Ammons, and her mother are saying that not only she, but her 3 children were possessed by demons in her house, and she was saying that her house was also a portal to hell. They would hear all types of strange noises, bangs, and everything else. Her son started walking up the wall backwards. Her daughter would levitate. It was shit off of like a scary movie, off of The Exorcist. The whole situation is just very, very creepy. I'm going to go ahead and play you guys a video now. It's about 5 minutes long. There's also several other interviews out there on the internet, but I'm going to go ahead and play you guys the main one, and I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. I noticed there was like horse flies on the inside porch, and this was, the beginning of winter, so that was very odd to me. We would lock the basement door, and you would hear something hit the door, boom, and you would hear dogs barking. No dogs outside, no dogs. We would go look, no dogs.
One time she woke up in the middle of the night, maybe like 3 in the morning, and they saw this shadowy figure pacing back and forth in the living room.
And I saw one like coming into full image. It was coming out of my closet. I've never seen it like that before. I would see the shadows, but I've never seen it like how I'm looking at you and you're looking at me.
You could see it stretching his stomach. And my grandson was crying, oh, Mama, Grandma, help. And then we go to his leg, and his leg was bulging. I'm like, oh my God, Toya, look. It was bulging out of his arm. And then we pray over him, and we ignored him.
Latoya took me inside the house and showed me different stuff. I didn't see anything that was relevant to what she said, even though other people did. So I was very skeptical. I just figured that she owed me money, and this is a fabricated story. And that's not strange to my walk of life. That does happen, Like I said, I thought I heard it all. This is a new one to me.
And I told my daughter, I said, they're going to make it look like we're hurting these children. So we're going to have to get some help some kind of place, some kind of way. We got to convince somebody that this is actually going on.
This boy was in one of the emergency room areas. He was kind of growling, and his grandmother was holding his hands and trying to coax him back, and all of a sudden he started, she was kind of backing him up and toward the wall, and then he started to walk up the wall backwards, did a flip over her head, and then there was the psychologist and the social service worker in that room that saw that, and they ran out and got the security, and the security called the chaplain, and he called me, and they got the police involved and all that.
Until he saw what the other one did when he went up that wall. Then he like, oh my God, this is impossible. Nobody can do this. Nobody.
There's 5 people that saw this happen. And they're, different walks of life. That does change things a little bit. I find it hard to believe that all 5 of those people will say this just to be saying it.
We'll have to do an exorcism. It was pretty much without incident until we get to the part of your name, and you ask for its name. Now, so far she's always been silent. So, and I says, is your name whatever? And then all of a sudden she started convulsing and such. So So now once you have a name, you kind of attack it. You try everything, you know, you kind of go through the whole rite to see which things push the buttons of, you know, the entity. And once you found what does it, you keep on using it over and over. Whenever you would praise God in Latin, no reaction. But you start condemning the demon, you know, condemning, you know, the evil spirit, you know, all of a sudden she's reacting to that. And then you will go back, and the moment you go back to praising God, she would stop reacting. So I went through the whole rite, and then finally went the second time, you know, and then it was just like just focusing on the condemnations part. And that was kind of riling up. I think I even went a third time. But you could tell it was kind of weakening, and then eventually she fell asleep again.
Demons can actually possess you, use you, so you can give them souls, you know, and they make you take your own life, you know. So, I mean, it's real. And a lot of people don't think about it. They live their lives day to day, and you never think that it would be you.
Okay, so you guys just watched the news clip. And, you know, like I said, this story is all over the news. You know, everybody's talking about it. It's gone national. And, you know, it's brought up a lot of debates, too. You know, you have a lot of folks who are like, they're just lying. They're attention whores. They just want attention. You know, my personal opinion, I don't know if they're lying or not, but I do feel like there's more to this world. You know, I've experienced a lot of supernatural things, not only growing up. You know, I've seen certain things. I've seen spirits. You know, my old apartment that I used to stay in with my ex-husband when we first got our first apartment, you know, we're like 19 at the time, and my son was little. He was like a little baby. And I remember being asleep on the couch, and this little boy who's about, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, but this little boy who's about 5 years old, he came, I was sleeping, and he kept tugging on my blanket. And at first I thought it was my ex, and I woke up, and it's this little boy, and he's just like, just next to the couch, and he's holding on to my blanket. And I'm like, oh my God. And at first I'm like, is that my son? But my son was little at the time. He's probably like not even a year. And he was in his playpen in his room. So it wasn't him. You know, there's just been times where I've seen shit, spirits, shadows, all types of things. You know, I get visions all the time. So I definitely believe in things like this. You know, could this woman be lying? Yes. I just feel like there's a lot of things that happen in this world that science can't necessarily prove. You know, even if you don't believe in God, even if you do believe in God, there's just certain things that happen that's just hard to wrap your mind around. You know, it's not necessarily a conspiracy, but I do feel like there's other dimensions. I don't feel like, you know, this is it. I don't feel like, you know, my whole journey of life is just being here on earth and communicating and meeting people and things like that. I feel like there's more to it. You know, I think about stuff like this all the time. Like, you know, what happens when we die? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Do we just go to another dimension? Are we just balls of energy? What makes us tick? You know, I think about a lot of stuff, you know, so I think for the most part, with this situation that Latoya is going through, what I do like is that it's brought out a lot of really good debates. A lot of people telling their, you know, supernatural experiences, paranormal experiences. You know, I do feel like a lot of things go on that we just can't explain. You know, that's why I feel like we have to have respect for people. We have to have respect for our ancestors and for those who came before us, because sometimes they're warning us about certain things and they're telling us about certain things, but because we're so enamored with this, you know, technology and our everyday lives and the internet, we don't take time out to appreciate the things around us, to appreciate the earth and the sun and the wind and you know, just the basic things, or just even to thank God for waking us up today and giving us a chance to see another day. I just think that sometimes we don't take time out for ourselves to just meditate and think clearly. And you know, living in such a busy world and such a busy society, it's almost to the point now where we don't have time to do that. But I think that you do have to take time out for yourself and just think about things and clear your mind and stuff like that. But I do believe this woman, you know, I do think that, you know, this is possible. I don't know if her house is a portway to hell. You know, I don't know about that. But I definitely do believe in things like that, you know, demon possession and stuff like that. Because there's so many stories that have just been going on lately, you know, that are emotionally draining to me. As you guys, I'm a very sensitive person, and a lot of things have happened in my life, you know, good and bad. I've been through hell and back. I've been through a lot of stuff that if I was to like literally just break it down to y'all be like, damn, I'm surprised you're not a crackhead on the corner. I'm surprised you're so strong to, you know, to have not ended it all a long time ago. So we all go through things in life, but I feel like some of these stories, some of these things that these people are doing, it makes no sense. Like when I think about like Kwame, you know, kid who could kill his mother and then get on the news and talk about it and be so distant and cold, and his eyes were just so dark. You know, I feel like, you know, Kwame could have been possessed when he decided to do some shit like that to his mother. You know, who knows? You know, because sometimes we just tap into forces. Sometimes we're just so, you know, willing to sell our souls and sell ourselves short. Sometimes you invite certain negative energies into you. You know, when you're willing to sell anything for fame, or you're willing to sell anything just to be that person or just to get validation, sometimes you can bring negativity into you. So I don't know. The story is just crazy to me. But a lot of y'all want to start the discussion on my channel, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you guys believe her? Do you guys believe in the paranormal? Do y'all believe in supernatural things? Have you guys ever experienced anything supernatural? You know, let me know your ghost stories. I'm going to read all the comments. So let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. All right. Deuces.